you throw away money on wasted electricity, you're throwing away everything you could have bought with it. Saving energy saves you money. Learn more at EnergySavers.gov.
Welcome to This Week with Sheriff Dave Phelan, a weekly program here on LSN Television and also a couple of our radio affiliates right here in Lancaster and Fairfield County. Do appreciate you, the viewers and listeners that join us each and every week, and certainly the folks here at Fairfield Christian Academy that actually put this program together. They produce it, and they do all the great work. We get a lot of nice comments about the program, and this would not be possible if it wasn't for their help. Back by popular demand, second week in a row, Sgt Lee Hawks with the Fairfield County Sheriff's Office. Good to see you back, Sarge.
Thank you, sir.
Lots of good things going on, and had you here last week talking a little bit about the shooting, the tragedy at the school in Connecticut. And this week we're going to talk a little bit about your responsibilities within the Fairfield County Sheriff's Office. And you are the second shift sergeant, which is the busiest shift within the Sheriff's Office as far as calls for service, you name it.
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately. There you go.
The second shift for the office is 3 to 11. If you think about it in most humans' terms, that's as soon as kids get out of school, people are on their way home from their commute, have their evening troubles, and then off to bed. So we get a pretty good myriad of different things that occur in a shift.
Yeah, unlike some of the other shifts, it is pretty unique, isn't it? Because you have the traffic accidents with the people coming home. You've got the domestics,
Yes.
you got the drinking,
Yep.
you got the theft, you name it. It all goes on second shift.
Absolutely. I've worked other shifts. I've worked second or third shifts, first shifts, and you typically will have a down time and a high time. And,
Yeah.
It seems like second shifts just go, go, go.
What's the difference in terms of police work between the three shifts, the day shift, the second shift, and the midnight shift where people are working all night? And I think you probably worked them all.
I have worked them all.
So what are some differences or subtle differences between the shifts?
Third shift, you typically come in to a heavy time frame, and things may die off till around 5 o'clock because your typical family is in bed and waiting to get up for their job or whatever they're doing the next day. The day shift, people are on the rise, so the day may start slower and then end with more highlights.
Right. So what's the most common type of call that you get on second shift? Or can you pigeonhole that?
I'd probably narrow it down to 3. Theft, of course, has been on the rise. We've got issues with the economy, people being unemployed, drug issues. I think that promotes a lot of the theft. The burglaries, for the most part, where the burglaries we've recently identified have all been daytime, or we suspect are daytime, when people are away at work. So they typically do not discover the burglary till they come home at 5, 6 o'clock in the evening. Then second shift ends up catching the report on that. The domestic violence, again, right now it's the holiday season. Sometimes people get a little caught up in the weather, being stuck at home,
Right.
or
Drinking,
again,
alcohol
financial,
consumption.
alcohol. There's a whole lot of things that go on there.
It's a little amazing when you look at statistically the number of calls that you guys have each and every night. Why don't you share a little bit of that?
Well, if you took the office statistics as a whole, the second shift would probably represent 2/3, close to 2/3, in comparison to other shifts. A good example, last month we took 154 reports on second shift, and the day shift had 99, and the third shift had 29.
Right.
So that's a substantial difference in workload that the guys on second shift have to endure. Along with that, you may end up with more critical type incidents, dealing with domestics or mental persons, people who are suicidal. These are all very tolling on the person who has to respond. And then they end up with a stack of paperwork to boot. So,
yeah. Now, have you seen, as far as the, and you are an expert on methamphetamine, you've done training throughout the state of Ohio.
Yes.
With this new shake and bake, and you may want to explain to the listeners and viewers what we're talking about, how that really has kind of changed the dynamics of meth in Fairfield County and beyond.
It has. You know, I've been involved in the meth problem here in Ohio since '98. Got to help with some legislative issues that the state had. I've watched meth just grow, come and go, grow again. Fairfield County, for a while, you know, we have a vast amount of farmland, and there's a great deal of use of anhydrous ammonia. And in the beginning stages, that was a major problem. We had thieves coming in from, meth cookers coming in from other counties and stealing anhydrous ammonia.
Right.
This newer method, this one-pot method is what they call, is just another way to manufacture the drug. It's very simple. It can be done in a 20-ounce pop bottle.
Okay.
Very volatile substances. Matter of fact, we require specific training. We have detectives on our staff. The Major Crimes Unit is a great big help. The State Attorney General's Office, BCI, and I send out specialists to dismantle these labs. I mean, they actually have to be neutralized before they could be moved.
And I think what really has kind of set meth apart from a lot of other drugs, meth is something that you don't have to have a lot of sophistication to produce. It's not like a drug that has to be taped from out of Colombia, brought through the pipeline. It's not like marijuana where you have to grow it. You have those kind of levels of things. It's something like if you could bake a cake and knew how to kind of put the
That's
ingredients
correct.
together, you could put. Now, is this shake and bake where they put it in these pop bottles? Now, is the old method still out there? Or is that pretty well eliminated with the way they do this thing now?
It really depends. It depends on how that method came into the area. There's different levels of knowledge that these guys get.
Right.
Obviously, if I know a certain way how to make it and I share it with you, then you're probably going to make it the way I learned.
Okay.
It's just kind of progressed into now an easier way where some of the chemicals are not as controlled or difficult to obtain. And I can tell you these things are very sneaky. We had officers 2 nights ago made a traffic stop inside the city limits and made an arrest on the individual for no driver's license, started inventory in his vehicle for impound, and we start finding materials and end up finding a live one-pot lab inside the vehicle.
Wow.
So we have to immediately back out. You know, if one of these officers would have twisted the cap, bumped this thing wrong, it could have blew up. It's a big safety concern.
Now, sometimes they actually will leave these on they'll shake them up, leave them on the roadside in the ditch, come back and retrieve them. What would happen if someone should come across one of these things? And maybe explain a little bit kind of what it would look like and what a citizen should do. It could be a farmer out there in the field, maybe somebody mowing the grass, maybe somebody walking down the roadway. What's this going to look like, number one? And number two, if a citizen or a youngster comes across this, what do they need to do?
Well, I can think of countless scenarios over the years where we've had something left at the roadside or abandoned that could have gotten somebody seriously hurt. Obviously, if it's not yours or you don't know what it is, don't touch it.
Okay. Good advice.
It's just the safest angle you can take. The current method, and it's hard to be specific because there's so many different devices that they can use, so many different variables. But typically they're using a 20-ounce pop bottle, Gatorade bottle. You're going to see a liquid of some sort with a solid down in the bottom, like it would look almost as if you dumped flour or sugar or something that laid a sediment in the bottom of there.
Okay.
Obviously, this wouldn't be something that you would, if you threw your Mountain Dew bottle out the window.
Right. It's going to be an empty bottle without a top on it.
It's going to be an empty bottle or maybe half full of green Mountain Dew.
Right.
But it's not going to have that layer of sediment down in the bottom, things like that. That would be a good indicator. Obviously, you want to contact, the authorities will come out. We can assess it. The fire department can assess it and determine what needs to happen if it is, in fact, part of the lab.
And I think it goes without saying, when in doubt, let us know. We would rather go out 10 times on a certain incident, even if it's a suspicious person, than have that one time where someone doesn't call us, someone gets hurt, someone goes ahead and breaks in a house or something like that.
I had a woman once on 204 that found a gas can laying in the ditch. And she had stopped to pick it up, and it was actually full of anhydrous ammonia. And when she moved it, it caused the lid to blow off and blew very dangerous vapor up in the air.
Really?
And she was very lucky. You know, and again, this is just a gas can. She thought someone left it at the side of the ditch.
Now, wasn't there a few years ago in Logan, maybe in the Walmart parking lot,
Yes.
where somebody was actually making meth, and they set themselves on fire, didn't they, or something?
They actually blew the van up. I believe it had a fire extinguisher that was full of anhydrous ammonia, and it ended up blowing up inside the vehicle. They had actually stopped at the Walmart to pick up some materials to make meth. We're making meth in the car, and it blew up. I remember the video, and you can actually see the chemical vapors pouring
Wow.
across the parking lot.
Sergeant on second shift with us today, Sergeant Lee Hawks. Now, the deputies go out, they're taking reports, they're going on runs, they're investigating car accidents, they're doing all kinds of things. So now, how does their responsibility differ from yours as the sergeant? And how many people do you oversee?
Right now, there's 12 of us, 12 and 2 supervisors.
Okay.
And I have a relief sergeant, Sergeant Hendershot, that helps out a great deal when I'm not there.
Right.
We typically have 7 to 8 deputies on shift, and then we assist in supervising the 2 Canal Winchester deputies when they're there. So it's a pretty big role. The deputies obviously respond to runs, whatever calls are dispatched to their areas. They may have self-initiated contact with people. Sometimes we end up with 2 or 3-man runs.
Right.
So we have to adjust everybody. The hard balance for me is being able to be more than one place at one time. So sometimes we may have more than one critical incident going at the same time that may require supervision, and that makes it difficult.
So you kind of enjoy being the sergeant, right?
I do enjoy it.
Yeah, veteran here. You know, with us this afternoon, Sergeant Lee Hawks. Now, think about, we just have a couple more minutes, but think about one incident, maybe on second shift, since you started as sergeant there how long ago?
I was just promoted here in May.
In May. Think about one incident that really kind of comes to mind or stands out since you've been in that position. Because every night the sergeant will send out an email or a text message of what exactly did the entire night, and some of those are pretty lengthy, and I appreciate that because that way I can read that. I know exactly what happened on second shift if I get any calls from the media or the citizens. But does anything kind of stand out? Because I know you've had a lot of. I'm kind of putting it on the spot.
Yeah, you put me on the spot because there's too many of them.
Yeah.
One actually in particular, we had, I think it was down on Delmont Road. We had a gentleman who we believe to have been intoxicated, launched his car off the road through a fence and into a guy's pond, and then probably within an hour and a half, 2 hours later, we had a guy drive off the end of the road into Buckeye Lake. And I don't know if you remember my email. I said, oh my gosh, that nobody in the county knows how to drive today.
They're all in the water.
They're all in the water. They need life jackets in their cars.
Well, we're going to have you back here periodically. Do appreciate the sergeant. Looks sharp, does a great job, and very proud of him, and certainly an honor to be working with you on the sheriff's office.
Thank you very much, Sheriff.
Well, the clock on the wall says we're just about out of time. Do appreciate you, the viewers and listeners, and all the kind comments we have about this program. And again, thanking the folks here at Fairfield Christian Academy. If it was not for their efforts, we would not have this program. They do not charge the county anything, but they put in many, many hours over the course of a year to produce this program. Until next week, same time, same place. God bless, and we'll see you right here.
cotton balls, duct tape, spoon, needle, thread, scalpel.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today.